the one, the only, Ben Sion. Good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube Daily Double. Today we're finishing the fifth parak of Maseches Yoma, Perikei, Mishnayos Vav and Zayin. Mishnah Vav says, Hiza al taro shel mizbeach sheva ba'amim. After sprinkling, we learned yesterday on the four chronos, on the four sides of the mizbeach, the four corners of the mizbeach. Then you do seven times you sprinkle on top of the mizbeach. Al tiro shel mizbeach. And the leftover blood that you have from the par and the sawyer, you pour it on the western, the bottom of the mizbeach. There was actually like a ramp there, a small ramp. The blood on the western side. It was also on the south side. The korbanos that were offered that day on the mizbeach hadama, that was outside in the azara, the remnants of that blood will be poured on the southern ramp. They get mixed together, these bloods. The ramp took it out of the Beis Hamikdash area to a stream, Nachal Kidron, which is near the Beis Hamikdash. That blood was actually sold to gardeners to help irrigate their fields. And if they bought it, so the money gets kedusha, and the blood goes l'chul, and it's not a problem. But if you don't pay for it, there's me'ilah. Now the Gemara explains that really it's only me'ilah mid'Rabbanan, because once the mitzvah was done with it, and the mitzvah blood was used for the sprinkling on the mizbeach and so forth, the mitzvah was done with it, so therefore there's no me'ilah mid'Oraisa, there's only me'ilah mid'Rabbanan. Zayin kol ma'aseh Yom Kippurim Amar al stay there imhiktem ma'aseh l'chavera lo asta klum. All the avodas Yom Kippur, if you did one before the other, you didn't do anything. Lo asa klum. Hiktim damasar damapar. For example, first you're supposed to sprinkle the blood of the par, of the Kohen Gadol and his family, and then the sawyer. But if you did it the opposite, first the sawyer and then the par, yachzer v'yazam midamasar lacha damapar. You have to do it the right order. So you did the damapar, now do the damasar afterwards. You're in the middle of sprinkling in the Kodesh HaKodashim, in the Heichal. Some of the blood spills. You didn't get a chance to finish the 8 sprinklings, whether it's on inside in the Aron, or whether it's on the outside of the Mizbeach, or even for the Mizbeach Hazav. You have to shecht a new animal and go ahead and do the sprinkling the right way. Just like the first case was talking about in the Kodesh HaKodashim, the same thing in the Heichal when you sprinkle towards the Kodesh HaKodashim, and the same thing with this Mizbeach Hazav. Shekul and Kapara b'fnei atzmon, each of them are Kapara entirely by themselves. That's like if you did in the Kodesh HaKodashim, you did the Heichal, but you didn't do the Mizbeach Hazav, you shecht the new animal and just do the Mizbeach Hazav. It says, once I started doing a sprinkling in the Kodesh HaKodashim, let's say I did 3 sprinklings in the Kodesh HaKodashim, you move on. I did that. Again, you have to shecht the new par or another sawyer. And then you move on. You already did. Whatever you did was done in the Kodesh HaKodashim or the Heichal or the Mizbeach Hazav. And you move on to the next thing. But a partial kapara is good enough. We don't paskin Lezer or Shimon. Stay tuned for Ian Mitzion, where I discuss Rabbi Kiva Eger over here. Rabbi Akiva Eger says something very interesting. Tosas Rabbi Akiva Eger on the Mishnah, he says, Yavi dam acher. According to the Tanakama, right, if you started sprinkling on either in the Kodesh HaKodashim or the Heichal, and the Mizbeach Hazav, and you didn't finish, right, so you should shecht the new animal and do it again. The Rabbi Akiva Eger adds, V'sarach gamkin lachzor v'lachfon Torres. What about the Torres that you did of Lifnai V'Lifnim? You have to do a new one. The Torres shechafna kodem shchitas hapar pasal. When did you did the shchita a long time ago, right? So now you're shechting, right? You started sprinkling the dam par, let's say, towards the heichal, in the heichal towards the Kodesh HaKodashim, and I didn't finish. It spilled, so I have to shecht the new par. But wait a second. If I shecht the new par, right, that happened before the Torres. So then I have to go back and do the Torres again, and then go back to the sprinkling. He brings Tosas Shana, who seems to argue on that. So we'll explain Rabbi Akiva Eger versus the Tosas Yeshanim. I think Rabbi Akiva are possibly the Tosas Yeshanim, but I'll explain why Tosas Yeshanim says you don't have to shecht again. You don't have to bring the Torahs again. We'll try to explain that. Ian Mitzion coming up next.